God, that's cold. I thought this was supposed to be a hot tub, not a cold tub, especially not a freezing cold tub. How long is this thing gonna take to heat up? Anyway, that's what we're actually talking about today in this video. How long does it take a hot tub to heat up, and what are some of the things that you can do to speed that up? It can take anywhere from 3 hours up to 8 hours, maybe longer. That's a pretty big range. So why such a big range? Well, there's a few factors, but the biggest one is what is the temperature of the water coming out of your garden hose. Almost all of us fill up our hot tubs from our garden hose, and a garden hose could be anywhere from 60 degrees on the low end, maybe even below that if you live somewhere like Minnesota and you're filling it up in December, or it could be as high as 75. It really depends. And we're going to get into exactly how fast per hour water heats up in a hot tub, and we're going to get into some other ninja tips in a little bit to help speed up that process too. But just know that somewhere between 3 hours to 8 hours is about the average for heating up a hot tub from scratch. So I've already mentioned that the temperature of the garden hose water is one of the biggest things that affects how long it takes to heat up. But also the climate where you live. I did mention Minnesota in December, so obviously it's going to take longer there to heat up than it will in Texas in June right now where I'm at. So that affects it as well. But the things that you can do to speed up that process, no matter where you live and no matter what time of year it is, are, first of all, close the lid. You might be tempted, especially here in Texas, to leave the lid off. Right now, today, it's going to be probably close to 100 degrees. You might think the sun beating down on this water is going to cause it to heat up faster. That's actually incorrect, though. You're going to want to keep the lid closed and fully on there, and that way the heat gets trapped and it gets recirculated into the water instead of evaporating into the already warm air. Also, turn on every jet and water feature that you have. That's just going to help circulate the water, eliminate some cold pockets, and make sure all of the water is circulating through that all-important heater tube. Those two things are going to be the two things that you can do that'll make the biggest impact. But there's one other ninja tip I'm going to get into in just a minute that can also help. Let's go check my water temperature now, though. Okay, so I mentioned that we were going to check the temperature of my water, and we're going to do that right now. I've got a food thermometer that's designed to check the temperature of food, and it's got a stainless steel probe. So I'm putting that in the water stream right now. It may take it a minute to kind of go down because sometimes when it's just sitting there on the ground, the water coming out of it is initially kind of warm from sitting there baking in the sun. But as you can see, let's see, it's going down right now. It's about 76 right now. See if it gets, 75. Let's see if it goes much lower than that. 74, 73. It's not likely going to go a lot lower than that, but it could go a little bit. 72, and it looks like it's holding at 72. So there you have it. That's what the temperature of my garden hose is. And good thing for me, it's not in the 60s, as that would add an hour of heat time, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so we've talked about all the big things: turning on jets and water features, keeping the lid closed, checking the temperature at your garden hose so that you know whether or not that's going to factor in another hour or so to your overall heat time. I want to go back to the lid for just a second. Think about when you're boiling water on a stovetop. Maybe you're making pasta for dinner, and you set that pot of water on the stove and you turn out the burner on high, and you just sit there and it takes forever. It's like watching paint dry. Nothing's going on. Seems like it takes forever. But if you put a lid on there, seems like you just turn your back for a minute, you come back and it's at a rolling boil. Putting the lid on your hot tub does the exact same thing. So I can't underscore that enough. Even if it's a warm, brutally hot summer day, keep the lid on there. It'll trap that heat in there and just cause it to recirculate and get going that much faster for you. And after all, that's our goal here. We want to get back in that hot tub as quickly as possible. So a couple of other things, aside from turning on jets and waterfalls and things like that, I want you to avoid the urge to add hot water from the stove, thinking that that will speed up the process. For one, unless you have a 100-gallon pot laying around, which I don't, It's going to take forever to make any serious dent in the temperature of your hot tub, transporting water in tiny little pots back and forth from the stove. Another thing, the hot tub is designed for a maximum of 104 degrees. If you put boiling water from the stovetop in there, you could seriously damage the hot tub shell and the plumbing and some of the equipment inside. So I want you to avoid the urge to do that. I know in our heads, especially us guys, think, oh, I could speed it up just by going back and forth 100 times from the kitchen. You're going to find much better things to do with your time than that, I promise you, because it won't move the needle forward enough. And like I said, you could really damage your hot tub. Anyway, as I said before, my name is Jeff Campbell. This is my channel, Hot Tub Owner HQ. I would love for you to join me on this journey. Visit my website, hottubownerhq.com. Check out all of the best ninja tips that I've learned over the years in owning 4 different hot tubs. We're going to get into all of that here and on my website. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments down below, even constructive comments. If you're not crazy about something, let me hear from you too. Just be nice. If you have ideas for what you'd like to see in future videos, I'd love for you to share that with me as well. Hit that subscribe button, that bell notification button. That way you get notified of future videos just like this one. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Happy hot tubbing, and I'll see you in the next video.